This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. All right, so I saw the Minnesota report. Anthony Edwards, which that alone already just becomes crazy. Karl Anthony Towns and 4 first-rounders. And everything else that's been talked about what they're asking for. I just get the feeling we're really Heat fans need to come to the realization there will be no Durant deal. They're not even going to come close to it because they don't have the ammunition. And it's probably more about improving from within than anything else.
No. And I know that sounds good, but this is all liar's poker. This is all what you say when you're talking on July 7th and July 8th. You can ask for the world because the last time I checked Orlando Alzugaray, there's not an NBA game that counts for another 3 months. This is all posturing. You ask for the world. What I can tell you is this, the Miami Heat inside their offices have put together packages for Kevin Durant. They have worked on packages. They are considering it. There is no reason for Brooklyn not to ask for the world right now. And I'll tell you why. Sean Marks is trying to keep his job as general manager of the Nets, if that's possible. Joe Tsai, the owner of the team, is trying to make it look like he's doing everything possible for the Nets fans, if there is such a thing in the NBA. So you want to say at the start of the process, we went out and asked for the world. And then you turn it on KD and say, but KD has made this so untenable that we've had to take a little less. And you know what, Nets fans might buy for this reason. They know what it looked like when James Harden made it look untenable. And they realized they had to trade. So the NBA is in a different place now. So I think what the Nets are doing is this. If something goes wrong with KD and you don't get max value, it's not on the GM. It's not on the owner. We tried. It's on player empowerment. And you don't see this in any other sport. In any other sport, okay, you're approaching a contract year. You have 1 year left. You can use leverage. With 4 years on his contract, a player is trying to leverage a team, and it's working. Adam Silver's going to talk next Tuesday or Wednesday here in Vegas, and he's going to open it up to questions. And I believe one of them will be, where do you draw the line about a player even being allowed, whether on social media, leaked to one of the NBA insiders, to demand a trade while in the middle of a contract? Because I've got to tell you, I know you're a man out on your own and an entrepreneur right now. But when you did work for corporations, there was plenty to be said. I mean, our late friend Hank Goldberg just passed last week. He was the guy who went out on his own, said you should not be running a station, was suspended, was eventually let go. Most of us know there's a line. But in the NBA, there's no line. You can demand out while still collecting your paycheck. James Harden played like crap in Houston and in Brooklyn while still collecting his paycheck. This is a very different world we're in. So I would not get caught up on what's happening on July 8th. I would get caught up on what happens in late August, in September, and in October.
Yeah, but Ira, here's where I disagree with you.
Okay.
Where their ceiling is right now is maybe okay. It's the sky, and I get it. You want to make it more like Michael Jordan's roof and bring them down to reality. But my point is, whenever they do come down, Miami will not be able to meet that because, unfortunately, there are teams that still have more ammunition than Miami. And as I've said before, unless they're willing to move Bam somewhere else and take on that Ben Simmons contract, that's the only way I think it ends up happening, because the Suns aren't going to take Ben Simmons and the Raptors aren't going to take Ben Simmons. So if Miami really wants to get Durant, they're going to have to move Bam because they don't have enough ammo by keeping Bam and not taking Simmons and getting Durant. That's what I think overall, because the Suns and Toronto have way more ammunition no matter how much they lower the bar and how much less they have. What I'm saying is the reality is Miami does not have enough to play poker in this game overall. That's my point.
Okay, and so we're sitting around the poker table, which we do here in Vegas anyway. So one of the people at the table is the Suns, and you mentioned what they have, and you're considering DeAndre Ayton in that. If DeAndre Ayton, a free agent who can choose where the hell he wants to go on his own, says, That's a crap show over there. I don't need that. If he doesn't avail himself to the whims of the Suns, they don't have a better package. They have Mikal Bridges, who's a nice player. They have Cam Johnson, who's an okay player, probably a level or two below Tyler Johnson. You have that. Tyler Hero, I'm sorry. Tyler Johnson would be another story. I'd throw him in a second. Then Toronto, I'm not so sure where Toronto is right now. On a team sort of on the uptick that just got rid of its own 36-year-old star in Kyle Lowry a summer ago, wants to go in on a player in his mid-30s. I think Toronto Masai and what they're growing organically there, he might want to stay with what he has, his young players, and grow his own core, as he largely did until he added Kawhi Leonard as his last piece.
That's what I was just about to
but
tell you.
I don't think they're one piece away. I don't think they're one piece away right now, Toronto. I think when they got Kawhi, they were one piece away. When Siakam had advanced, when Blvd had advanced, when they realized they had it together a little bit more. So what I'm saying is, and for me, this is awesome. I know that I'll be able to talk to Orlando Alzugaray twice a week on our Acura Pembroke Pines report about Kevin Durant for all of July, probably all of August and part of September. And that's what we love to do anyway, because this story has so many scenes and acts still to be played out. The one thing about Pat Riley and Andy Ellisberg, and Big O, this is important, and I want you to stress this to all the people on your chat board. Pat Riley is not afraid to fail when it comes to harpooning. So while so many people out there, you know what it was like. Oh, he didn't get Gordon Hayward when he left Utah. He didn't get Gordon Hayward when he left Boston. He didn't get Durant when he left Oklahoma City. He didn't get Durant when he left Golden State. Lesser men, non-Hall of Famers might have said, this is really hurting my legacy. Pat Riley couldn't give a rat's butt. If he has a chance still to get a Kevin Durant, he's going to be the last man standing. Even if he's at the altar and someone snatches him away, he's not going to give up. I guarantee you, if you were to go inside FTX Arena right now and ask, are there still permutations for you guys to try to get Kevin Durant, Andy Ellisberg's big board will be full of them. And you know what? There are 3 and 4 and bigger team trades where maybe a Ben Simmons winds up in Sacramento. And you got all these moving pieces because Andy Ellisberg is a very, very sick man.
Yeah. Well, so you got Sacramento taking on Ben Simmons.
I have someone taking on Ben Simmons.
You got a shithole becoming hell.
Hey, you know what?
Damn, you're some boy. Sacramento fans, that wasn't me. That was Ira sabotaging your franchise, bearing it even more into the abyss than it's been for the last 45 years.
Oh, there are certain players you might do right by because, hey, KD did leave the Warriors to come to the Nets, did try to make it work with Harden and Kyrie. So I think to a degree the Nets will try to do right by him because they're going to want all the stars. The Nets owe no allegiance to Ben Simmons. He was the price of getting rid of the headache that was James Harden. So that's the difference. All this stuff's going to play out. I heard you on the crosstalk before I came on talking about you haven't heard anything about John Collins yet. You will. Things take time, and I'll tell you why. The Hawks are talking about giving an extension, rookie scale extension to DeAndre Hunter. Once they do that, you're going to have Trae Young under a rookie supermax. Right. You're going to have DeJounte Murray, who the Spurs didn't want to pay under a supermax or close to it. If you also have DeAndre Hunter under that kind of contract, at a certain point, the Hawks are going to go, we can't keep carrying these contracts. Right. You know, I know it's not sports talk radio, even out here on the interwebs, but patience is such a big part of it. And I've seen so many NBA deals. I wrote about it in my Sunday column, or actually in the story in the Sun Sentinel this week. The Heat have made so many major deals, Big O, in August and September. When they did the Posey and Walker and Jason Williams deal to close that. That came at the start of September. They did the Brian Grant deal when they redid the team in 2000 and the Anthony Mason deals. They did those in August. The Shaquille O'Neal deal was not finalized till the 3rd week in July. It's still early. Time of day out here in Vegas and in free agency. Maybe a little patience.
All right. Well, we'll see if the Collins one I can see with the Hunter move.
Right.
That would be 4 salaries.
And another name, and I know you're talking about possibilities of power forward, because we have none. I keep stopping tall people on the street here and asking them if they want to play for the Heat. You know, is Miles Turner still going to be out there? The Pacers are totally imploding it. They got rid of all of, Domantas Sabonis is out the door. They moved off of Malcolm Brogdon. So anyone is available there, there might be a fire sale. Now, I don't know if you're in love with him or not. I don't
I
know if you
like
want
him.
to give up.
I like him. I don't think you
But
give up the world for him, but I like him because I think he'll be a better player here than he was there. Actually,
most are. But I probably wouldn't go as far as Tyler Hero,
no.
although I might for one reason, Big O. If I get closer to Tyler's extension deadline, and he is firm unresolved that he wants a rookie supermax like Bam Adebayo and wants to get $180 million, I might say to myself, you know what? Just like the Suns did with DeAndre Ayton when they said they're drawing the line there, I think the Heat might draw the line also and saying, you know what? We got Miles Turner already locked into a deal. Maybe this Hero thing is going sideways. We need to do something. So again, that's why I'm going to be here with you on these Acura Pembroke Pines reports twice a week, every week, telling you there still is hope. Orlando Alzugaray, my friend, keep hope alive.
All right, so walk us through the contract that Oladipo signed. Why did they go for a 2-year deal now instead of a 1-year deal?
Because it helped dip them below the luxury tax. And now I know my good friend Anthony Chang was berated by you yesterday as far as the Heat being cheap or not and trying to save money.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is keep their flexibility. And Big O, the Heat has said, and I know you always call Mickey Arison out on this. If my team is in contention, I will pay the tax.
Yeah, he'll do that.
But just when I came on the segment with you right now, you said, I'm not sure if the Heat is in championship contention or not. So I think the Heat are sort of in this middle ground.
Oh, they're
playoff
not.
Team.
They have no shot at a championship.
Okay, so we know they're a playoff team, though. You'd agree with that, Big O?
They have a deep playoff team, yes.
We know they're good enough to win at least 2 rounds, compete in the East semifinals, right?
Yeah.
So I think until they get this thing rounded to a level where they can push all their chips like you did last night, all into the middle of the table, I think that's why they redid the Oladipo deal to stay below the tax, to deal with a 14-player roster, to keep their flexibility. And again, Victor Oladipo and Dwayne Dedmon, who have tradable contracts, cannot be dealt to January 15th. Caleb Martin, who has a tradable contract, cannot be dealt till December 15th. There might be a whole lot of patience required here, but there will be deals. There will be Donovan Mitchell or another Donovan Mitchell because Big O, I do not remember a single NBA season when a star did not grow discontented over the course of a season. Some teams will underachieve, and some players will say enough. And I got to tell you, there's even Joel Embiid hanging out there. And I spoke to someone with the Heat, and they said that, yes, you keep an eye on that because the Sixers have never gotten past with Joel Embiid the Eastern Conference semifinals. And if that starts going south with Harden, and if he winds up clubbing a little bit too much and not being the same player, and all of a sudden a PJ Tucker looks like he's 37 years old, maybe Embiid starts rocking the boat. We've seen Embiid. He's the king of social media. He'll let us know when he's not happy. Again, you have to be patient. Andy Ellisberg's thought, communicated through others, is this. He thinks this could be a season of titanic change in the NBA. And in this case, you want to be along the ride on the Titanic because you might wind up getting someone thrown overboard.
All right, Orlando Robinson. It was eventually the Heat, while they try to recruit these free agent kids, it's their decisions to come here eventually, right?
Correct. They're free agents.
Right. So I'm reading the quotes. And one of his quotes, it says, Miami is a big developmental spot. And, you know, in a way, I'm watching Mario Cristobal now, how he's getting these 4 and 5-star kids. And, you know, they've decided Miami over Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson. All of a sudden, instead of Tulane and Navy and East Carolina, that's what, you know, Diaz and Golden and some of these guys were beating some of these other schools for those kind of players. All of a sudden now, kids want to come here because of Mario and the relationships and all of that. Orlando Robinson, when he said Miami is a big developmental spot, that to me is huge because that already young players are realizing I want to maximize. I got to go there. That's where I'm going to be my best. And that, to me, when I saw that quote, I say kudos to the Heat because they have sold their organization to agents and players that, hey, man, if I want the best out of myself, I'm going to go there.
And, they've stood by those players. Even when those players have struggled, they've stood by their developmental projects. Think about how many chances Briante Weber got Never able to maximize it. He was here 3 times. I'm going to give you another name. Chris Silva being brought back last season and then given a contract and his 10 days. He was away. They needed someone. They called him back. So often you and I'll talk about a player who gets his 2nd or 3rd or 4th chance at the Heat, whether it's in training camp or otherwise. They stand by their developmental projects. Remember, 2-way contracts can be subbed out at any time. Right now, Javonte Smart and Michael Mulder, who we'll see tomorrow night against the Celtics here out in Vegas, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, NBA TV, have the Heat's 2-way contracts. That could change by Sunday. So a guy like Orlando Robinson knows, yes, I'm teammates of Mulder and Smart right now, but if I outplay them, I might have their job. And you know what? An NBA 2-way contract pays $500,000. $500,000 more than you get somewhere else if you don't have the chance like Orlando Robinson got. So here's the interesting thing about Robinson. Does this mean the Heat still want Omer Yurtseven insurance if they're not sure that he can play with Bam? Because Robinson is so much more agile. Is he insurance for Dwayne Dedmon in case they throw him into a trade? It's a very intriguing move, and you and I were among the first when we saw the Orlando Robinson signing with the Heat, coming out of Fresno State and joining them. He was intriguing. He has started every single Summer League game to this point, all 3 in the California Classic in San Francisco. You can see who the Heat are devoted to. You can watch these games and saying player X, Y, and Z are their guys. And let's face it, there are filler players also because you have to fill your summer roster. But I think right now, I would keep an eye tomorrow when you're out at Thomas and Mack with me and UNLV. Keep an eye on Orlando Robinson. Keep an eye on Marcus Garrett coming back. You and I talked about him for a couple of times. A real nice prospect. Those could be your 2-way players, and it could be, thanks, Javonte. Thanks, Michael Mulder. We gave you some money, but now we're trying something else. And with the Heat only carrying 14, and with perhaps even one of those being Udonis Haslem, those 2-way players might get the similar kind of shot that Caleb Martin got last season when he started on a 2-way contract.
By the way, you meant 5:30 for our folks in Miami.
5:30 in the East. Yes, I'm doing everything. 2:30 for you. You're going to have to actually wake up early for another day there. I know this is killing you.
I know. 2:30 is good, man, because I've got more say in the evening again. So I still get to see my my concert. So it's good. It doesn't.
And I'm very surprised because I walked up to the Westgate right next to my hotel there and did not see you on the line for Barry Manilow tickets. So I am a little disappointed. Although I should probably Siri or Google this. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it. Hey Google, how old is Barry Manilow?
I say 80.
He was born in 43, so I'll let you do the math there. So, the man is still putting
80,
on a show. So
79. Hey, 79, 80. I don't know. 70. Well, 80, 43. So he is 79. So I was
79, and they're still throwing their underwear at him. For what reason? I have no idea.
Hey, I said 80. I was pretty close, bro.
That's close. I know. It's scary how old we're getting.
Yes, exactly. That's all right. So what else are you working on the Sun Sentinel? So Heat fans can check you out, my brother.
A couple of stories. I posted where the Heat roster is. Unfortunately, for now, this might be all there is. The Udonis situation, we'll talk about it Monday when I come back on my next Acura Pembroke Pines report. If he's taking up a roster spot, last season, the Heat played with 14 and had 3 players who couldn't contribute. Udonis Haslem didn't play. Victor Oladipo was rehabbing. Markieff Morris is whiplashed. They can't afford that again. I spelled out how they might be able to use the other 14th spot instead, including possibly shifting Haywood Highsmith back to a 2-way contract, veteran guy. He's eligible. Then you could bring in another veteran, whether it's a Markieff Morris, whether it's a Montrezl Harrell, someone like that, do something like that. It's already posted the Sun Sentinel on your doorstep Saturday. Later today, I'm doing a story on Marcus Garrett, how all last season, even after his wrist surgery, he stayed in Miami. Like the rest of us, watched the Heat games on Bally Sports Sun. When the Heat were gone, he snuck into the arena, worked with the coaches and the training staff. He really wants to make it work. And Malik Allen told me he is in love with the kid because this is exactly what you want to see. The kind of perseverance to push through adversity, just like Orlando Alzugaray going from terrestrial radio to dominating the interwebs. Marcus Garrett making his move also. That'll be published later at sunsentinel.com as well.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Ira Heatbeat, and do what I do. Subscribe to the Sun Sentinel and support Ira and all of the exceptional writers there in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, I will see you tomorrow, my friend. Looking forward to it.
See you Saturday. Talk to you again Monday on our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thank you, Big O.
You got it. There you go. Ira Winderman and our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report.
is the Big O Show.